please, daddy, vaccinate me, at Joe Biden. Anyway, so, in the United Kingdom, there's some bullshit. So let's read. This is from CNN. Fury as London police officers break up vigil to murdered Sarah Everard. So this is a story that's been developing over the last, I think 3, 4, maybe 5 days. Where a woman went missing in the UK, and then they basically kind of discovered that it was probably a cop that killed her. And so from what I understand, they wanted to have a peaceful vigil of remembrance, and they were denied the permit, and then they did it anyway, and then the cops started fucking beating the shit out of people. So this is something that's been developing, and I'm going to read this article, and tomorrow I'll probably be looking for some other footage, and we'll get into it a little bit more in the nitty-gritty, because, again, all cops are bastards, not just in America. So let's read. Women's rights activists in the UK are reeling from the Metropolitan Police's heavy-handed approach at a Saturday night vigil for Sarah Everard, a 33-year-old who was murdered while walking home in South London earlier this month. The man who is accused of murdering her is a serving member of that same police force. Throughout the day, mourners had flocked to the bandstand of Clapham Common, an area where Everard was last seen. In a tribute to her life, they also came in an act of solidarity as an acknowledgement of the shared, omnipresent experience of intimidation, violence, and harassment that women constantly face in public spaces. A series of evening vigils from organizers Reclaim These Streets had been planned Saturday across the UK. The main event at Clapham Common was cancelled after the Met said they couldn't go ahead, citing coronavirus restrictions. The organizers asked people to shine a light on their doorstep instead for Everard and for all women affected by and lost to violence. But by nightfall, peaceful mourners gathered for a socially distanced event in Clapham. Attendees chanted, "This is a vigil. We do not need your services." Less than an hour after the gathering began, officers moved in to inform people that they were breaching COVID-19 regulations and had to leave. Then, a predominantly male cluster of officers moved in using containment and corralling techniques, where officers surrounded demonstrators to keep them in a particular place, making social distancing impossible, ordering people to leave or face arrest and fines. This is a huge problem. Yes, absolutely. The COVID restrictions should be followed, and they should be abided by 100%. But when the cops go in there and say, y'all are breaking the COVID restrictions, yes you are, and then they themselves make it impossible to follow social distancing, that's a fucking problem. When everyone knows that there's a pandemic going on and they act accordingly, they have masks, they're socially distanced, and then cops come in and treat them like cattle and beat the shit out of them and cause a riot, guess what? Social distancing is going to be a lot less common. It's going to be a lot less likely to happen. So the cops here trying to use this as some sort of, guise to just beat the shit out of protesters. And these aren't even protesters. These are just people trying to mourn the loss of someone murdered by their own coworkers, right? So it's just the idea that they're going to say that. It's only an excuse for them. Anything that they can. They will flip through the books and find any excuse to beat the shit out of innocent people. And that's the way that they play. As police officers forcibly removed women from the bandstand and dropped others face down to the floor in arrest, attendees chanted, "Shame on you, arrest your own, and who do you protect?" In a statement on Sunday morning, the Met Police said they absolutely did not want to be in a position where enforcement action was necessary, but that we were placed in that position because of the other need to protect people's safety. We gotta protect people's safety by knocking them down to the ground and removing their masks and coughing into their faces. That is the best way to protect their safety. Yes, we do. God, I fucking hate cops, dude. It's always the same bullshit. It's always that, oh, we gotta do it to protect its safety. Oh, we gotta protect and serve. Ah! How do we protect? Oh. Home Office Minister Victoria Atkins addressed a now viral photograph of one of the women who had been pinned down by officers during an interview on Sky News on Sunday morning, saying, "It is something that the police will have to explain to the report to the Home Secretary." And of course, obviously, you can see Not good, folks. Atkins added that the very upsetting scenes were taken very seriously by the British government. Her comments come as videos on social media and news agencies continue to surface showing attendees scuffling with police. Several UK leaders across party divides had agreed that the police response was disproportionately harsh, and the mayor of London ordering a full independent investigation of events yesterday evening and in previous days. Again, the cops, right? These dumb motherfuckers are the ones accused of murdering this woman that caused this whole situation, right? Well, not the cops as like a group, but a single officer among the cops, right? So you can bet your sweet motherfucking fuck that these cops went in there and they were pissed off because their buddy Fred down at the water cooler is having a hard time. Man, I just wanted to rape and kill a bitch, and now they're trying to do these protests? What the hell, man? That's what they're fucking talking about at the water cooler, I guarantee you. In a statement on Twitter, Sadiq Khan also said that he had spoken to the commissioner and deputy commissioner at the city hall on Sunday to have them explain what happened, saying that he was not satisfied with the explanation that they have provided. The mayor said he has called on the government and police last week to work with the organizers of the vigil to clarify the law and find a way for them to take place legally and safely, and that they had received assurances from the Met that the vigil would be policed sensitively. In my view, this was not the case, Khan said. He called the scenes from the Saturday evening completely unacceptable and said that he completely understands why women, girls, and allies wanted to hold a vigil to remember Sarah and all women who have been subjected to violence or lost their lives at the hands of men, and to reclaim the public spaces where women are made to feel unsafe. Labour Party leader Keir Starmer called the scenes and Clapham deeply disturbing. This was no way to police the protest, Starmer said. The leader of the Liberal Democrat Party agreed, joining blah blah blah. Who cares? This is just a bunch of people commenting on it. But again, I'm going to be probably covering this a little bit more over the next few days. But this is a huge fucking problem. I mean, again, if the whole thing is, oh, we need to make sure everyone's safe, COVID restrictions. All right. Well, then why the fuck are you corralling people like fucking cattle and tying them together and fucking pinning them to the fucking ground? Again, it's also another thing is when people are running, when people are scared for their lives, they're going to be breathing heavier as opposed to, right? And when you breathe heavier, right, let's say 8 people are in a crowd, right, they're all breathing normally with masks on, little possibility of transmission. If people are breathing and their masks are slipping from their face because they're trying to run for their fucking lives from beat fuck cops, right, they're going to be more likely to transmit anything, let alone, you know. So the idea that they're going to use COVID restrictions as an excuse here to beat the shit out of people is just ridiculous. It's ludicrous. And again, like, yes, you should be safe. Yes, you should follow rules and social distancing. But they made it clear that that was a core fundamental part of their vigil, and what they would do is they would be safe. People would wear masks. They would be socially distancing. And the cops said, fuck you anyway. We don't give a shit. And that's the problem. It's any excuse under the sun for them to beat the shit out of you, and they will take it. They will kill you, they will rape you, and they will destroy your fucking friends and your family, and they'll get away scot-free. Cops in America, cops in Britain, what's the fucking difference? I guess the difference is one carries guns, one doesn't. I don't know. But Jesus fucking Christ.